In 1998, my classmates and I encountered the Adjustment Bureau on our trip to the Ocala National Forest. We did not have cell phones, we did not have GPS, MapQuest didn't even exist yet.
So we were going on a camping trip.
I don't know if my friend wants his name in here, so we'll just call him Silver. He had a really cool truck with this like skull for the gear shift. Since he had a big bed in his truck, all of the camping equipment was put in his truck.
And we all got together. We got ready to leave. I think we met up at McDonald's. Yeah, we met up at McDonald's.
Somehow, and this is uncharacteristic of me, I left my wallet in Silver's truck. So I said, hey man, can I have your keys? I left my wallet in your truck. All right, here. So he gives me the keys. I go to the truck and I get my wallet, but I end up locking his keys in the truck. All right, so mistake one that I made, which was strange, was forgetting my wallet. Like, how did I forget my wallet? In the truck. For me, I'm real responsible with stuff. And then two, I wind up locking his keys in the truck.
So there was an officer in the drive-thru, and I attempted to get his attention to get his help, but I guess he was on lunch break and he wasn't having it. So we're standing around the truck trying to figure out how to get in.
Decided maybe we would split all the camping equipment amongst all the cars. So as we're deciding all this is where the Adjustment Bureau show up. I don't know if they were there the entire time or what.
As I recall, some dude in like a Men in Black suit with the glasses, the black tie, white shirt, black suit, whole nine. He just walks up. He don't say nothing to me, walks past me, goes to the door of my truck, puts the Slim Jim in, unlocks it, puts it back in his jacket, and just walks away.
These two guys that look like the Men in Black come out of this van that was parked in the back of the parking lot. They come over to us. They don't say a single word. They got sunglasses on. They have like matching outfits on. This guy opens his jacket like Batman. He opens his jacket. He's got a hanger. He's got a hanger in his jacket. Why would he have a hanger in his jacket? He pulls the hanger out and he coils it into this hook. And just by chance, a tiny crack in the window was open. And it was just enough space for him to stick the hanger down. And he had the skills to actually pop the lock on the door. After he pops the lock, this dude still doesn't say a single word to us. And then he pulls it out. He puts the hanger back in his jacket. And him and his partner walk away, and they don't say a single word to us. And go back in the weird van in the back of the McDonald's parking lot.
I was talking with my partner, John, and he said, because I don't remember where he went. John said he was with another dude, and they got in the van. But I just remember this guy walking up like Men in Black. He don't know the situation. He can't know it. And he just unlocked the door and just walked away. Didn't say nothing. And that's what I remember, and we was just blown away.
Here's the sequence of events that's so strange. Event 1, I leave my wallet in the truck. Event 2, I then get Silver's keys to go get my wallet and then lock the keys in the truck. Third weird thing, somehow the window was cracked just enough for these guys that just happened to be in this random McDonald's parking lot and happened to be there right at that exact time, somehow knew the situation we were in, has a hanger in his jacket, opens the jacket, takes out the hanger, pops the lock, and throughout the whole situation doesn't say a word to us, and then leaves. So he solves our dilemma. And when it's all done, I look at Silver, I go, and he looks at me, he goes, dude, did that just happen? And I was like, I think it did. I can't believe this. Like, what? Who are those guys? And I was just like happy that my extreme mess up was resolved. My whole class almost got gypped out of a trip to the forest.
Yeah.
Now, if that was how the story ends, it wouldn't be that interesting to tell. But that is pretty strange, but it maybe could be explained away. The rest of this, I don't know. The guy that arranged this whole thing, he was in my class, but he also brought 2 or 3 of his friends along. And they were like these country dudes. And they kept saying, hey, Silver, tonight when we're in the forest, we're going to go honky-tonkin'. And Silver was asking me like, hey, what the heck does honky tonkin' mean? I'm like, I don't know, man. I never heard of honky tonkin'. He's like, they're not going to do anything crazy to me, right? I'm like, nah, I think it has to do with like driving their trucks or something. And I think they're impressed that you have a cool truck with the skull. And I think they're trying to bond with you. And he's like, all right, man. So anyway, we have our time in the forest. We had our campsite. We had music playing, partying. And then I just remember blacking out in the tent. That was that. But, throughout the night, these guys kept saying, hey, at 12 o'clock, we're going to go honky tonkin'. And we're like, all right, whatever the fuck that means. And then I look out my tent and I see everybody else in their sleeping bags. They're just like sleeping out in the middle of the night. I was in a tent. They were just out in the open air. And they all kind of just wake up at the same time. And the guy that organized the event that had the truck, not Silver's truck, but the other truck, he wakes up and he looks around and he goes, yo, hey, and he hits his friends. He's like, hey, where's my truck? Yo, where's my truck? And I look for Silver's truck. I'm like, all right, Silver's truck is here. Thank God. Thank God that these crazy dudes didn't honky tonk with his truck, whatever honky tonk it even means. So the guy that sets it up, he's like, yo, where's my truck? Where's my truck? And those two or three guys that were talking about honky tonk and go, oh yeah. Well, we went honky tonking with your truck last night. And he's like, all right, well, where's my truck? And they go, well, remember last night, as we told you, we went honky tonking. We ran smack dab into a tree. He's like, come on, man, where's my truck? No, seriously. We were honky tonking pretty good. And we ran right smack into a tree. And he's like, where? Where did you do this? But where did you put my truck? Oh, well, about 3 or 5 miles away. We lost control of it. And we ran into a tree and got stuck. And he's like, come on, man, for real, where's my truck? They're like, no, for real, we went honky tonkin' last night and we wrecked your truck. Sorry about that. And he's like, no, for real, what would you do? They're like, no, we really did that. And we're like, get out of here. No way. And this is the key here. He goes, if you wrecked my truck into a tree in the middle of the night in the national forest, how the heck did you guys find your way back to the campground? Because we had put out the fire and it was so dark that without that campfire, you couldn't see anything. This is the forest. It's pitch black. It's pitch black. How did you guys find your way back? And they just kind of looked at each other, genuinely puzzled. I don't know if they even had flashlights. And even if they did, I don't know how they navigated back to our campground in total pitch blackness. They genuinely could not remember how they got back to the campsite. And I think they were also puzzled as we were of, you guys walked 3 to 5 miles in the pitch blackness. Even if you had a flashlight, how did you navigate your way on foot through 5 miles of forest to find the campsite? And they had no memory of how they got there. And not only that, they looked well rested. They didn't seem exhausted. When we woke up, they looked like they had been sleeping just as long as we had been sleeping. Because if they had to walk 3 to 5 miles in the dark, even in the light, that's a long walk after a full day. We were north, south, east, west. We didn't have a compass. These guys crashed the truck 3 to 4 miles from the campsite. He's kind of like, come on, guys, where'd you hide my truck? And they're like, no, seriously. We crashed your truck 3 to 4 miles away in the dark while we were honky tonking. So he's like, all right, fine. How did you guys get back? And the guys just kept looking at each other like, I'm not really sure how we got back. I remember wrecking the truck. Next thing I remember is waking up here right now. I don't know how we got back. We're like, yo, how did you get back in the pitch black darkness? How could you have found your way back in the dark? So anyway, after we sorted everything out, we got in the truck, we got in Silver's truck, and there was still one other vehicle. And it took us about a half hour, at least 30 minutes by vehicle to locate the truck. And also what we didn't realize too, because we hadn't done this before, we didn't think to set like a path of like, where are we? You could get lost in a forest, and we were more focused on finding the truck. Also, not even know if these guys were telling the truth or not. It seemed like it because there was no truck. But there's a point where we're driving through the forest thinking like, dude, do we got enough gas to get out of here? How far into the forest are we? I don't know how we got out of there. The point is, I suspect that the Adjustment Bureau brought these guys back to the campsite, because I can't think of any other explanation how they found their way back, because again, it took us over 30 minutes by truck to find the truck. Not only that, I don't know how they weren't injured, because the truck was like slammed sideways into the tree. It was stuck in the dirt and we couldn't push it out. Like, all of us got out and we tried pushing the truck out. We couldn't. Somehow Silver had rope in his truck, and we tied the rope to his, like, to the back, the thing on the back of, like, that knob thing. We tied it to that, and then we tied it to I don't remember what part of the truck we tied it to. Maybe it was the bumper. And Silver slammed on the gas in his truck, and it was, wheels were spinning, the dirt was flying everywhere. I was actually worried that our truck was going to get stuck from peeling out. But eventually his truck was able to pull the other truck out, just enough so that the truck could then spin its wheels, and we got out of there. The reason this is impressive is that it's not plausible to me that these guys found their way back to the campsite. Again, 30 minutes driving in vehicles trying to find where this truck crashed. So to this day, we're like, how did those guys get back? It's not like they were natives of the forest and they knew their way around. So anyway, a lot of unsolved mysteries. I've asked Silver, it's not his real name, but I've asked him about this a couple times over the years, and he recalls it pretty much the same way I recall it. I remember on the way home, just to give you an idea on like the fatigue, I remembered we stopped to get gas at this gas station restaurant that looked right out of the movies. The gas pumps looked like they were from the 1960s, and the restaurant looked like, not quite like the one in Pulp Fiction, but it looked like one of those diners that you see in movies. I don't know if it was a Waffle House, but I remembered going to the bathroom to go number 2, because I don't think I went in the forest, and it's a long drive back to Tampa. So I go in the bathroom. I end up blacking out on the toilet, and I just remember waking up. I don't know how much time passed by, realizing like, yo, where the heck am I? And then I go to the table where Silver is, and Silver blacked out at the table. So like, I don't know how long I was in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, but when I woke up, I went out to where he was sitting, and he was like just sleeping in the booth. Like, he's like laying down completely asleep. So I go there, I wake up. I don't remember if we paid or not. I don't remember how we bought the gas. I remember there was a weird thing with buying the gas. I guess the takeaways from this are that there seems to be an Adjustment Bureau. Look, luckily for me and my group, there is an Adjustment Bureau. Because if there wasn't an Adjustment Bureau, I don't know what we would have done. Or it would have been my fault. Like, I'd have been traumatized all these years that I messed up my freshman college classes, independent of the teachers' trip to the forest. Because these guys exist, they somehow had it all, unlocked it, and we got to go to the forest, and they were still there to somehow rescue these guys. Can you imagine, like, all right, let's say I got past the lock and the keys. If these guys would have got lost in the forest, I'd have been, feeling bad about that my whole life. Like, hey, these 2 guys we lost 2 guys in the forest and never found them. And somehow they got returned back to the campsite. There might be an explanation. Maybe they had flashlights on them, and they didn't have cell phones to use the cell phone light. Like that's the other big part of it is thinking back on the situation, a time before cell phones, before GPS. And I still to this day do not know what honky tonkin is. I suspect it means driving a truck recklessly in the middle of the forest. And they did do that. We recovered the truck, pulled it out. We just happened to have rope. That was pretty neat. But apparently there's an Adjustment Bureau, at least for us. I don't know if it's for other people. But I'll tell you what, there was no Adjustment Bureau for me the next year when I got stuck on Alligator Alley on I-75, and I was there for a good 9 hours delirious, because I had only slept 1 hour because I was going full-time to college and working a full-time job, and I was pretty exhausted, and but somehow I got out of that too. And that's when I got a cell phone. Was after that. The next year, personal cell phones became available, and so did credit cards. Anyway, may the force be with you. I hope this was somewhat enjoyable. Let me know. Have you ever been visited by the Adjustment Bureau?